Good afternoon, class. My name is Joe Lamond, and today we're going to be talking about movements of the hip and pelvic girdle, and we'll also answer some of the questions prompted in class. The first thing we're going to go over, we're going to discuss the movements of the hip. Okay, so we have hip flexion, so it's basically bringing the knee up. It's going to move the femur up. Okay, then we have hip extension, moving the femur back, moving the hip backwards. Okay. Then we have abduction, okay, so abduction taking the way, abduction, coming up, and then adduction, bringing it toward the midline. In this case, we can go past the midline. Then we have external rotation, so moving the femur laterally, externally, and then inward rotation, foot would end up moving because everything's attached, moving femur internally. Then diagonal abduction, okay, so going away at a backwards angle, okay, and diagonal adduction, so toward the midline, in this case, at an angle. And now we're going to move on to pelvic girdle motions. So the anterior pelvic rotation, you're going to move the hips anteriorly, so it's going to look like we're moving our bottom back, okay? And then for the posterior pelvic rotation, we're going to bring our bottom in, which means we're moving our hips posteriorly, okay? The questions we're going to discuss as well as, can I name at least one sport that uses diagonal adduction? I have a huge judo background, was very involved with it for a while. It's a very basic sweep and we use it all the time. And there's a lot of sweeps and trips and throws that go off that diagonal adduction. And then we're going to discuss a squat and deadlift with anterior and posterior pelvic rotation. So a good squat or deadlift, your back is going to be slightly forward. It's still in a straight line, but your hips are going to be anteriorly rotated. Okay, and then as you go down, it's going to maintain that, and then as you come up, it's going to switch over with the posterior rotation. Same thing with the deadlift. You have that good back posture, hips turn forward, and as you come up, you're going to do that posterior rotation. Okay. We also need to discuss the left transverse rotation and right transverse rotation. So moving on the horizontal plane, left transverse rotation, right transverse rotation. Okay, so we're going to move the hips sideways. All right, so now for the abduction, okay, so it's going out. All right, muscles we're using here, we're using the gluteus maximus, okay, the upper fibers, the gluteus medius and gluteus minimus, the tensor fascia lata, or latae, and the sartorius muscle, which wraps around. Okay, so those are all the muscles that we're going to use with the abduction. With adduction, we're going to, the major muscle is going to be the gracilis. Okay, so it's coming on right here, involved in contracting this way. And so for abduction, it's going straight sideways, okay, as opposed to the diagonal adduction that we spoke about earlier. All right, now we're going to discuss the sled video, the sled squat video, and the two phases of movement, initial and secondary movements. You have the lowering phase and the pushing phase. Okay, so when you're on your back and it's coming down, that's going to be the lowering phase. It's coming into you. You're not pushing out away from you. So that motion is the hip flexion. Okay, the way my camera's set up, you wouldn't be able to see if I actually lay down and do it. So let's pretend that I am laying down, and these are my legs. As the weight comes in, my knees are going to bend, okay? And that's the lowering phase. We're going to be using the psoas major, minor, the rectus femoris, Okay, once again, the sartorius, rectus femoris, and the tensor fasciae lata as well, all in that lowering phase. Okay, and then for the pushing phase, we're going to be using the biceps femoris. Actually, it's the other way around. My apologies. So on the lowering phase, you're using your biceps femoris, and on the pushing phase, you're going to use the rectus femoris, the semimembranosus, and the gluteus maximus, and also the semitendinosus. Okay. Well, thank you for watching and tuning in. My apologies for some of the slip-ups. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and have a great day.